Hey guys, welcome back to the fourth installation of the
TAPES,
TAPES podcast. I'm your host, Jayden Calderon,
and your other host, Anthony Santos.
and today we will be teaching you guys about Unit
Unit 4.
4 Earth Systems and Resources. Now, Anthony, can you tell us, as always, how much of this accounts on the exam?
Yes, absolutely. This unit of AP Environmental Science accounts for 10 to 15% of the total exam weighting.
Now, what does that mean?
It means that basically 10 to 15% of the questions might be about this topic.
And how many questions is that?
Bitch, I don't fucking know. like, anyways. So,
Okay.
Jayden, do you remember anything about this topic?
Well, one thing that I do remember is the plate tectonics.
Mm-hmm.
So Earth is made of layers: the lithosphere crust, which is like the crust of the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
the asthenosphere, which is the upper mantle of the Earth, and the mesosphere, which is the lower mantle of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the plates are the less dense upper part of the crust, floating on the dense lower portion.
Okay. So, in this unit, in this topic, we will be covering the three different types of plates. First, we have convergent plate boundaries, which are when plates are pushed towards each other. Um, this formation usually causes volcanoes and it releases magma and it may cause earthquakes. We have divergent plate boundaries, which is when plates push away from each other. This causes ridges or volcanoes, and it typically causes seafloor spreading. Whoa, which we will be discussing more on this topic later, and it may cause earthquakes, although less frequently. And lastly, we have transform boundaries, which are when plates slide past each other. Yes,
Yes.
which doesn't really cause volcanoes or ridges, but it tends to have more shallow earthquakes, which are more frequent. And we
And
also have something known as like in the plate
boundaries.
tectonics, which are boundaries. Yes.
So plate boundaries vary globally.
Mm-hmm.
They're plates that are moving in all directions, and each plate may have all three different plate boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They recall
That's
that.
not what that means.
Um,
Um,
so what does that
recall,
mean?
like if you took an earth science class, recall that the movement of plates can determine geological features at the boundary, and the type of plate, continental or oceanic, also plays a factor in the feature. Ooh. Now, I will give you three examples of like the different types of plates. In the Philippine plate, which is located in the Philippines, obviously, um, it is a let's see, I have it right here. It is a convergent plate boundary, which is where the Mariana Trench is located. And then we have the Pacific plate, which is also known as the Ring of Fire. Because it has all three different types of plates, there's so much volcanic activity going on in that area, which is why it's called the Ring of Fire. And then lastly, we have the Eurasia plate with the Indo-Australian plate, which causes the Himalayan mountains to form.
Yes.
Basically, to summarize this topic, convergent and divergent boundaries usually result in volcanoes, island arcs, earthquakes, hotspots, and faults because of the collision of dense oceanic plates and less dense or float continental plates. And the stress built up at fault lines, also known as plate boundaries, releases over long periods of time as earthquakes. And underwater earthquakes result in tsunamis because ooh, because the plates move up water onto shorelines, which is what results in tsunamis. And a tsunami is also known as just a long sea wave. So, Jayden, Jayden, in this topic, you know how it's called Earth systems, right? Tell us more
Yeah.
about the formation and also the erosion of soil.
So soil is formed when parent material is weathered
Wait,
or
also,
broken down, transported, and then deposited.
okay. So like what are the factors that go into forming soil?
So there are different factors when soil is being formed. So parent material, which is the original rocks that were broken down to form the basis of the soil. Then there's weathering, which is mechanical breakdown of rock by wind and rain.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that is climate which is like the average temperature and moisture change rate of weathering. Was that
Mm-hmm.
not a part of it?
No, it is.
Restart. And then there's also climate, which is the average temperature and moisture change rate of weathering. Then topography.
Topography.
Then there's topography, which is the slope of the land that affects the erosion. And then after that, lastly, is biological factors like plants, animals, microorganisms,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was more.
And then we have one more, which is time. Like as over time, the soil formation since the soil formation is so continuous, it's gonna keep on repeatedly changing, and rocks are gonna keep on breaking down, which results in more soil. So, we have something known as a soil profile, also known as soil horizons, and over time, these soil layers build up and form common layers. Um, there are four different layers: the O, the A, the B, or the C layer. These are known as soil horizons or a soil profile. Um, you will be learning more about this in Miss Antoine's class, but the basic rundown is that the O and the A layer typically contain like organic material or deceased organic material, and the B and C layer are more of like the parent material. And in soil formation and erosion, we also have soil erosion, which is the denun oh the den, the denudation or wearing away of the upper layer of soil. It is a form of soil degradation. Now, the factors that go into soil erosion include water, and with that, ice, wind, gravity, human impact like deforestation, which which causes the lack of roots to hold down soil. And then we also have overgrazing, which is when pasture land leads to cattle overeating and topsoil is removed and eroded with the wind and the rain. And then we have pesticides and fertilizers, which changes the chemistry of the soil and kills microorganisms living in the soil. So, Jayden, we also have something known as the soil composition and properties of soil. Can you tell me more about that?
So soil texture refers to the sand, silt, and clay textures. Sand is roughly 2 millimeters to 0.05 millimeters
Mm-hmm.
in what diameter, right?
And
And then
millimeters, millimeters. Yeah.
millimeters. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then silt is roughly 0.05 millimeters to 0.002 millimeters. And then clay is anything greater than
Less than.
and then
Oh, someone didn't pass math.
clay is anything less than 0.002 millimeters.
So, Jayden, so sand, silt, and clay also affect the water holding capacity of the soil. Can you tell me what holding capacity is?
So when we talked about the millimeters of these different textures, it refers to how big they are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the bigger
The larger. Mm-hmm.
the particle, the higher holding capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and the lower the particle, the lower size of the particle, the lower holding capacity.
Mm-hmm. So
So
basically like clay retains water more than let's say
yes,
sand because clay is so much more smaller than sand.
sí, señor.
Okay.
So
So I don't have the graph on me, but you will learn about soil, like the soil, a soil triangle, which is basically the amount, like what can determine what the type of soil is. So we have like sand, silt, or clay, or we can also have like a silty clay loam, for example, or like a clay loam. And loam is basically a combination of all three composite materials. So we can also conduct soil tests on the soil, and these soil tests can tell us the properties of a soil sample, including in chemical soil tests, the nitrogen, then which is the nitrates, the phosphorus, and the pH or the acidity of the soil. In in physical soil tests, it will tell us the soil composition, the water holding capacity of the soil, and in a biological soil test, it will tell us like the earthquakes and the bacteria, like the organic living material in the soil. So, Jayden, we will also learn about the Earth's atmosphere. Can you tell us more about that?
So, Earth's atmosphere is a layer of gas and suspended solids extending from Earth's surface. of many thousands of miles, a blanket of air covering the Earth, basically.
So what makes up the atmosphere, Jayden?
So the atmosphere is made up of four, no, three main gases.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So there's nitrogen, which is 78% of it,
Mm-hmm.
oxygen, which is 21%, and then trace gases, which is like other elements that
Also known
are
as greenhouse gases,
seasonal,
like ArCO2, which is carbon dioxide.
or Taylor Swift's jet. But getting past that,
Oh.
those account for 1% of the Earth's atmosphere.
So, Jayden, tell me more about the five different layers of the atmosphere.
So the five different layers consist of the troposphere, which is 0 to 6 to 20 kilometers, depending on the
Depending.
location, and then whether it takes place here. The
Mm-hmm.
stratosphere, which is 20 to 50 kilometers. This has like the ozone layer, which
Mm-hmm.
protects us from like UV light.
Mm-hmm.
The mesosphere, which is 50 to 85 kilometers, it protects Earth from like meteors. And then not lastly, the thermosphere, which is 80 to 85 to 600 kilometers. This causes the aurora borealis effect. The lonosphere is located here. And then
Mm-hmm.
lastly, the exosphere, which is 600 to 10,000 kilometers, and this is the closest layer to space.
Mm-hmm. So, Jayden, can you tell me about global wind patterns?
Global wind patterns. The Earth's atmosphere is held by gravity. And as the Earth rotates, the air circulates. The heating and cooling changes the density of the air as it moves due to the convection.
So, Jayden, what is the difference between hot air and cold air? It's.
Hot air is less dense,
Mm-hmm.
and then cold air is more dense. This causes air to go in a circular motion as air rise,
As
as
hot
air
air
as
rises.
hot air
Mm-hmm.
rises, it
Mm-hmm.
cools, which makes it more dense, which makes
Mm-hmm.
it
Fall back.
fall back
Yeah.
down, and then this causes a constant motion that
Mm-hmm.
continues to go on forever and ever.
Mm-hmm. One important effect in this in this topic is the Coriolis effect, and the Coriolis effect is basically due to the Earth's constant spinning. Wind patterns, they move in curves. They don't move in straight lines. Basically, they're in a curved pattern. And if the Earth had no Coriolis effect, air would just rise up to the poles and sink to the poles. Another topic in this unit is watersheds. Watersheds are the highest point around the river or any body of water. Um, Another word for a watershed is a drainage basin. And three vocabulary words in this topic are divides, which is the dividers of a body of water to another, found at the highest points of a watershed, a tributary, smaller rivers that connect to the larger body of water, and then a delta, where the river connects to the largest body of water, usually triangular in shape. So, Jayden, as I said before, human impact, we're always doing something at wrong. We're always at fault. So tell me, Jayden, what human impacts, what do we do that has a negative effect on watersheds?
So, Anthony, logging is like the removal of roots in soil. Removal of roots in soil allows runoff to go into rivers as sediments. Residential fertilizers, pesticides, pinhole leaks, car sediments return to river after rainfall washes chemicals back to the river.
So, pinhole leak is basically like a leak in a copper wire, which allows water to leak and run off into river, like dirty water, like
Yes.
seawater. Yeah.
And then there's industrial, like air pollution, and then waste ends up into the river.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cities, they have impermeable surface like concrete, like the
Mm-hmm.
sidewalk. Runoff waste from cities to bodies of water.
Mm-hmm.
Livestock, animal waste, fertilizer, pesticides use runoff into stream.
Mm-hmm. And then dams, which
Prevent,
are it's a rare example, but
yeah,
yeah, it works.
but it prevents like further water to run downstream, affecting the habitats that depend on watershed in the cut parts due to dams.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I moved it.
So, Jayden, the sun.
Yes, the
We love the
sun.
sun,
We love
right?
her.
Hmm?
We love her.
We love her. Is the sun the reason why your skin is so black?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, we know.
Millions
And
of
do
years
we know
ago.
why? Because of solar radiation.
Radiation.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
So continue.
so Jayden, what is solar radiation, and what does that have to do with the Earth seasons?
So, um,
Solar radiation is also insulation.
Radiation is also considered insolation, which is defined as the incoming solar radiation over an area.
We also
Um,
have something known as the angle of insolence. What is that, Jayden?
the angle, the angle of which the sun's rays hit a particular location on Earth.
And
Because of the tilt of the Earth's axis, the equator gets the most direct sunlight, while the Arctic and Antarctic circles get the lowest angle of direct sunlight. Tilt also affects the seasonal shifts. We would have no seasons without the tilts.
so, Jayden, what are the four? Whoa, why you? Whoa. So, Jayden, what are the four seasons?
So spring
Also known as the vernal.
equinox, the summer solstice,
Mm-hmm.
the autumn equinox, the winter equinox,
Mm-hmm.
and that is it. So spring equinox, it begins from on March 20th to like the 21st.
Who's doing that?
The summer
Oh,
solstice begins around June 20th to June 22nd. The autumnal equinox, it begins September 22nd to 20 ooh to September 22nd to the 23rd, and then the winter equinox starts at the 21st to 22nd.
remember that this only happens in the northern hemisphere. So in the southern hemisphere, basically, like it would be reversed. Like summer would be winter, spring would be autumn. You get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Jayden. So, Earth's geography. Tell us more about that, Jayden.
So the temp oh so the
We have
temperatures.
something no okay. We have something known as a temperature increase. The temperature increase is when the temperature is basically raised by 1 degree. This is important because coastal areas with water, which has a higher specific heat and a lower and a higher mobility, stabilize local temperature more than land areas which have low specific heat and have no mobility, which basically causes water to like it basically cools an area while places with more land are like they're hotter than coastal areas. You get it, right? Like for example, Brazil. Brazil has warm ocean currents, while Angola, a city in Africa, has a cold ocean current, leading to different temperatures, although they are virtually in the same latitude because of these currents. And we also have what's called the rain shadow effect. Tell us more about that, Jaden.
So the rain shadow effect is ocean breezes are shunted upward to a mountain, and as air cools and precipitates, the leeward side is virtually unaffected, leading to dry areas that are desert-like.
So the windward side of a mountain is the mountain area which is near the body of water,
The
while the
leeward side is the other side of the mountain.
yes.
America is right.
So the last topic we'll be learning about in this unit is known as El Nino and La Nina.
Yes, Mexico.
This is Brazil, babes. So El Nino and La Nina are
Phenomena
phenomenons. No,
associated with the changing ocean
why do you keep
surface
on cutting my
temperature.
mic? Why do you keep on cutting my mic?
If you want to continue, continue.
El Nino and La Nina are phenomena associated with the changing ocean surface temperature in the Pacific Ocean, leading to changes in rainfall, wind, and oceanic circulation patterns.
Enzo, El Nino Southern Oscillation, is every 3 to 7 years.
So it basically happens around that time period. Yeah.
Yeah. And then normal wind currents,
Which are without the phenomena of El Nino and La Nina.
they blow from east to west, from South America to Australia, known as easterly trade winds. More schools of fish in SA,
In South America,
yes.
which leads to like better commercial farming, fishing, well, fishing,
El
but
Nino is the reversal of wind patterns, the
also known as the
westerly
westerly
trade.
trade winds. Mm-hmm.
Is no longer supported and leads to less commercial fishing.
In South America, yeah.
La Nina enhances the neutral conditions and causes strong trade winds. This enhances upwelling, and this is the largest fish population.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we have, correct?
Um, no, actually.
Oh, cut
so
that. I
with
thought that was it.
so with normal wind patterns, we have warm, wet conditions in Australia and dry conditions in
South
Australia.
America.
And El Nino, which is the reversal of normal conditions, lead to warmer, wet conditions in South America and colder conditions in Australia. This leads to the destruction of habitat, fires, droughts, less primary productivity, and leads to flooding in South America. El Nino also has an effect in North America because warmer winters happen because of the warmer wind patterns. And tell us about La Nina.
So La Nina increased evaporation and storm potential. Wet conditions are intensified, and dry conditions are intensified. Flooding in Australia and droughts in South America. Colder winters in North America due to the cold wind patterns. So is that all we have for
That's
today?
all we have for this unit. Yes.
Yes. So how'd you feel about this unit?
So this unit, I remember the most about this unit.
This unit, I have the exact opposite. I
remember
remember
about
the
El Nino.
exact least.
Really?
Yeah, especially the El Nina and La Nina part.
That was so easy though.
Was it easy? It was, but I just forgot.
There is. I feel like.
And it was very boring. It was a very boring unit.
Was it? I don't know. I found it fun.
Oh no, actually I found it fun. No, was this that unit?
Which
No, when we did that one lab.
The cookie lab.
Yes, the cookie lab.
I don't think was it this unit. Let me check.
Oh wait, no, I love the Soy Horizons one.
Oh my god,
with the pudding,
yes,
and the cookies.
We're so big.
We're fat.
We're big.
But yeah, that's fine. So, anyways, I'm Jayden Calderon,
and I'm Anthony Santos.
Thank you for joining us at Tapes. See you guys next time. Adios.